Futurama wasn't just hilarious, it was accidentally predicting our present-day reality while we were too busy laughing at Bender's antics to notice. Today, we're counting down the top 10 times this sci-fi cartoon from 1999 glimpsed into our technological future with startling accuracy. Subscribe for more updates immediately as we dive into the top 10 Futurama predictions that actually came true. 10. Suicide pods. In the very first episode of Futurama, our protagonist Philip J. Fry mistakes a suicide booth for a phone booth, a dark joke that seemed purely dystopian in 1999. "I'd like to place a collect call," he says, unaware he's about to select between quick and painless or slow and horrible death options. What seemed like peak dark comedy turned eerily prophetic when, in 2021, Switzerland approved the use of the Sarco Suicide Pod, a 3D printed capsule designed to allow people with terminal illnesses to end their lives peacefully. Users enter the pod, answer a series of questions, and can then activate a process that causes painless death through oxygen deprivation. When Futurama introduced this concept with the tagline, "Since 2008" on their booth, assisted dying was barely on the legislative radar. Today, the ethical discussion about end-of-life choices has entered mainstream discourse, with multiple countries and states legalizing various forms of assisted dying options. 9. Flexible smartphones. Remember Bendless Love, where Bender returns to his original programming at a factory, bending various metal items? Among the objects he bends is what looks suspiciously like a flexible phone or tablet. When this episode aired in 2001, cell phones were still bulky devices that certainly didn't bend, unless you sat on them accidentally and they just broke. Fast forward to 2019, when Samsung introduced the Galaxy Fold, pioneering a new generation of foldable smartphones. Since then, companies like Motorola, Huawei, and others have developed their own bendable phones that fold in half or even in thirds, with flexible displays that don't crack or break. What's particularly amusing about this prediction is that Futurama utilized it as a throwaway visual gag. Just Bender doing what Bender does best. The writers likely added this visual because it seemed ridiculous at the time. The idea that we'd want our communication devices to fold seemed as absurd as, well, a robot with a drinking problem. 8. Whale communication translation. In the episode 300 Big Boys, we see a machine that translates whale songs into English, leading to a hilariously inappropriate conversation between Dr. Zoidberg and a whale. The scene plays as absurdist comedy. The idea that whales might have complex language worth translating seemed like science fiction fantasy. Yet, as of 2024, Project SETI, Cetacean Translation Initiative, has mapped large portions of sperm whale communication patterns and identified recurring linguistic properties that suggest sophisticated communication systems. The team includes AI specialists, roboticists, and marine biologists working to develop translation algorithms that can detect and categorize basic whale communications. Most remarkable is that the Futurama episode predicted something even whale experts considered implausible at the time, that cetacean communication might be complex enough to meaningfully translate into human language. The joke was supposed to be absurd, but science is rapidly making it a reality. 7. Delivery robots. Throughout Futurama, various robots perform delivery duties. Not just the Planet Express crew themselves, but small purpose-built robots zipping around New York with packages. In the early 2000s, this was a convenient narrative device for a show about futuristic delivery people. Today, autonomous delivery robots from companies like Starship Technologies, Amazon with their Scout robots, and various food delivery services navigate university campuses, business districts, and residential neighborhoods. These small wheeled robots deliver everything from packages to pizza, just as their animated counterparts did in Futurama. What's fascinating is that Futurama predicted not only the technology, but also our cultural acceptance of it. In New York, nobody bats an eye at robots roaming around doing everyday chores. Similarly, we're quickly becoming accustomed to sharing our sidewalks with delivery robots. What once seemed like pure sci-fi is now making its way down your street with someone's dinner. 6. 3-dimensional printing. In Fathers and Sons, Professor Farnsworth uses a machine that scans objects and prints perfect replicas, essentially a 3D printer, though not called that explicitly. When this episode aired in 2003, 3D printing existed only in specialized industrial environments and prototype labs. Fast forward to today, and 3D printers have become accessible household items, producing everything from toys to spare parts to medieval devices. They've transformed manufacturing, medicine, and consumer goods in ways that perfectly mirror how the technology was casually used in Futurama. What's particularly prescient is how Futurama depicted 3D printing not as revolutionary technology, but as a mundane household utility, precisely how we've come to view it now. The writers foresaw not only the technology, but our blasé acceptance of it as just another appliance. 5. Mobile device addiction. Later seasons of Futurama featured iPhones, communication devices implanted directly into users' eyes. Episodes like Attack of the Killer App parodied society's growing addiction to handheld technology and social media before such addiction was widely recognized as problematic. The show depicted people obsessively checking their devices, ignoring the world around them, desperately seeking likes and followers, and experiencing anxiety when disconnected, all behaviors that seemed exaggerated for comedic effect at the time. Today, we have medical terms like nomophobia, fear of being without your phone, and phantom vibration syndrome. Screen time management has become a significant health concern, particularly for younger generations. Photos of individuals tuning out the world around them to focus on their devices look less like satire and more like documentation. The Futurama writers grasped well ahead of most psychologists that our machines would become extensions of ourselves, fundamentally altering how we interact with the world and each other. 4. Virtual reality immersion. In Parasites Lost, Fry's miniaturized friends enter his body to remove parasites. They use VR headsets to see from the perspective of tiny robots and manipulate objects inside Fry's body. Full immersive reality with haptic feedback and sensory integration. When this episode aired in 2001, VR was primitive and clunky at best. Now we have MetaQuest headsets, PlayStation VR, and numerous competitor devices offering sophisticated experiences. Medical students train with VR, architects design buildings in virtual space, and robot operators guide machines in hazardous environments through VR interfaces, spookily similar to how the Planet Express crew guided their tiny selves through Fry's body. The brilliance of Futurama's prediction is in how it presented VR not as entertainment, but as a practical solution for experiencing and manipulating reality from a distance. While most early 2000s sci-fi focused on VR as escapism, Futurama correctly envisioned its revolutionary applications in medicine, learning, and remote control. 3. Corporate delivery monopolies. Throughout the series, Planet Express battles the monopolistic Mom Corp, which has diversified into every industry imaginable while maintaining a facade of wholesomeness despite terrible worker treatment. Mom's friendly delivery company threatens to put our heroes out of business with its ruthless efficiency and market domination. When Futurama began in 1999, Amazon was primarily an online bookstore. Today, it's a global behemoth spanning retail, cloud computing, AI, groceries, entertainment, and delivery services, with a public image that similarly conflicts with frequent criticism of its working conditions. The parallel between Mom's secret ruthlessness behind her sweet old lady image and the public's love-hate relationship with Amazon, loving the convenience while being troubled by stories of warehouse working conditions, is uncannily precise. Futurama didn't just predict the technology, it predicted the complicated ethical relationship we'd have with it. 2. The Smelloscope technology. Professor Farnsworth's Smelloscope allows users to smell things in space millions of miles away. In what seemed like one of the show's most outlandish inventions, science has caught up in surprising ways. In 2022, NASA deployed an e-nose to the International Space Station designed to smell potentially dangerous chemicals in space. Even more remarkably, in 2023, scientists at the Beijing Institute of Technology created a remote sensing instrument capable of identifying the chemical makeup of distant objects and converting that information into synthetic odor replications. What's wonderful about this prediction is that it was one of the most ridiculous ideas on the show, a joke no one, not even the writers, could have conceivably thought would ever be real. Yet, here we are, with science exploring technologies operating on exactly the same principles. 1. Brain interface technology. In multiple episodes, Futurama depicts technology that directly interfaces with the human brain, from the what-if machine that visualizes hypothetical scenarios to devices that record and replay dreams and memories. At the time, these concepts seemed centuries away from reality. Fast forward to today, and companies like Neuralink are developing brain-computer interfaces that allow direct communication between the brain and external devices. Researchers have already demonstrated the ability to translate brain signals into text and basic commands, with applications ranging from helping paralyzed individuals to potentially expanding human cognitive capabilities. While we haven't reached the seamless integration shown in Futurama, the foundations are being built for technology that can interpret and interact with our thoughts in ways that would have seemed impossible when these episodes first aired. Futurama wasn't just a hilarious animated sci-fi series. It was, perhaps unknowingly, one of television's most prophetic shows. The combination of scientifically literate writers and imaginative comedy somehow created an accurate blueprint for technological and societal progress. What's most remarkable is that many of these predictions weren't delivered as solemn forecasts, but as jokes, satire, or background gags. Yet repeatedly, reality has caught up with Futurama's vision of the future. As we look at these predictions turned reality, one can't help but wonder, what other Futurama concepts might still materialize? Will we eventually have heads preserved in jars? Will space travel become as commonplace as air travel? One thing's for certain, the line between science fiction and reality continues to blur. So grab your slurm, tell your robot friend to bite your shiny metal attention span, and keep watching the skies. And your favorite cartoons. Sometimes the most accurate visions of our future come from the most unexpected places. Good news, everybody! The future is already here, and it strangely resembles a cartoon from 1999. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Futurama's prophetic moments, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you never miss our future uploads. Share this video with your fellow Futurama fans and let us know in the comments which prediction surprised you the most or what other Futurama technologies you think might come true next. We read all your comments and use them to plan future videos. And if you want to see more content like this, smash that like button. It really helps grow the channel.